Eliminate, eliminate. Hello everyone, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. And in today's video I'm going to be talking about the new EP from Eliminate, released on Disciple Records, Dead Sea. Nathan Merrill, also known as Eliminate, he's back with his second EP of the year. A follow-up to Cyber Whale, one of the most impressive collections of 2019 so far. The predominantly trap musician taking a few unexpected but welcome diversions over the 5 tunes. From house to RIDDIM and outright BROSTEP, alongside his usual squeaky clean trap style. In the time since, he's collaborated with Barely Alive and Phase 1, remixed for Crywolf. But another solo EP was definitely what fans of his music were waiting for most. Especially with the promise of a VIP of one of the most celebrated songs in bass music this year so far, Weeble Wobble. And yes, before you make the joke, the Eliminate one, not the Barely Alive one. Sorry, the Bandles one. Considering the variation on Cyber Whale, I went into this project really wondering what we would get from Eliminate. Would it exhibit similar levels of diversity, or see a bigger return to his renowned trap style? But I think it's fair to say that with Dead Sea we get Eliminate really pushing boundaries with his music once again. At least on an experimental front, Merrill showing once more the extent to which his design can stretch across different genres. The most notable of which, the most unexpected, if you will, arriving at the EP's close with Everything. A drum and bass tune, yes, Eliminate D&B, I never thought we'd see the day, and it definitely works in some ways. I really enjoy the vocal here, quite remorseful and heartfelt. Its muffled delivery gives the impression it's continually emerging from below. Really coming into its own in each drop progression, lending a sense of story and purpose to the first, in combination with the more rounded instrumental. And it's basically the same the second time around, but that repetition makes you realise the nostalgic quality of it more, longing for something out of reach. Those sections provide a good contrast, moreover, from both main drops, which leave me thinking this isn't one of Merrill's most on-point experiments. The first drop comes a bit out of nowhere, a nice feel to it, but the overall sound doesn't seem quite full or rounded enough. And although the second introduces subtle note changes which are quite effective, the bulk of it presents similar problems. Going from the very end right to the very beginning, elsewhere on the experimental front we have the opener, Sinkhole. An outright dubstep banger that really chugs along in its heaviest moments, again some of which is good and other parts not so good. Drop 1 establishes the energy of the track, decent flow, I like the sinewy trickling down moments and the screeches in the breaks as well. But the main sounds, whilst dark and metallic, are a bit empty and don't do all that much. I like the direction of it, but the idea isn't particularly special. However, I would say the heaviness gets progressively better here, firstly with the middle or double drop, which is built around those high-pitched trickling sounds which snake through your mind. Sound is harsh on the ear, but I think the idea saves it. And the second main drop is a more purposeful version of the first, more sounds, more background touches, more attitude, and that really works. Then of course we have the Weeble Wobble VIP, which I cannot lie, I wasn't really looking forward to checking out. One of those where the original is so good that you would prefer it was left alone, but I think Merrill does a decent job here in giving it a different look. It's like a more hyper version of the original. From the off, it's essentially a quickening of what we know that first tune for. The first drop is a thumping one, but of the Eliminate variety, so still quite delicate and contained, not huge. Assuming a speed house kind of form as it goes on, the transitioning isn't great, but it's interesting in itself and as a take on the original. I like how it then fires into life in a completely different way. In the double drop, the shimmering screeches and animated breaks shooting off in all directions. And the second main drop following that, nifty Eliminate trap, sharp, pointed, good swing to it, triplet notes, and a real awareness of the placement of everything. Also really appreciating all the throwback vocal sampling here to other Disciple numbers, a testament to the 2019 Weeble Wobble meme. A VIP of this VIP awaits, I'm sure. Like Cyber Whale, these experiments are a great listen because they allow us to see quite literally how the Eliminate sound works in other genres. Which may sound like an obvious point, but when a lot of artists try out new styles, they sound too similar to the main producers in that genre, and that's never the case here. What's interesting about Dead Sea though is that we don't actually get any tunes that are front to back super squeaky clean Eliminate trap. The other 3 songs here, Stupid, You're Gonna Love Me and Numb, are trappy at their core but delivered with the attitude and bravado of a dubstep song. The way he switches between trap and dubstep types of percussion in these 3 songs really is quite sensational. A continuing theme through his recent projects is that he always has at least one seriously emotional, dramatic song, and that cut here is track 3, You're Gonna Love Me, with Leah Culver, who has featured on Disciple before and comes through here with a pretty pained vocal. At first I find it a bit too explanatory and ordinary in the introduction, but it really blooms with the refrain of "You said you would never leave me," especially in the second build when it's expanded on, ramps up that heart-rending appeal. The heavily malfunctioned edit of her voice just before each drop, twisting something so pure, is also one of my favourite snippets on the whole EP. On the heavy side of things, I think it really excels too, the first drop supplying us with a hefty dose of deep, devilish, guttural, dubstep flavoured trap. Punchy, metallic, shimmering stabs winding up and down, steady pace ensures it hits a certain spot. The musicality in the second half of that drop is a bit off, but sonically, it's brilliant. Ah, what a banger. The second drop being one of my favourites on the whole collection, basically a muddier, more sludge-like, stodgier version of the first one. People, I think, won't enjoy the slowness of it, but I like it a lot. It's drawn out and meaty, the way it mutates and evolves over time, slowly corrupting, leaves a mark. Working backwards, we have track 2, Stupid, similar to Sinkhole in its purpose and direction, yet with a more obvious trap core. I love the warmth of the beat in the first drop, solid trap flow with the aggression of a dubstep song, a pretty infectious, journeying delivery to it. The pointed, high-pitched stuff provides a good contrast from the warm sub. The brighter delivery in the second drop as well gives them a different gleam, which is fantastic. And the breaks in every drop section are mental. I mean, how well they're cut, considering how much is going on. It's absolutely mad. That leads me to the penultimate cut, Numb, which is cute, cartoonish, sweet Eliminate in full flow. Oozy, croaking robot sounds over a chunky, rhythm-like trap beat, very well packed together, great note placement, Moorish. The main sounds could perhaps have been fresher, but I think you grow to appreciate the muffled underwater delivery over time. Especially in making the second drop more tricksy and intricate, like a crawling insect, cuts deeper and is just a really good development. Lest I go without mentioning the other aspects of Dead Sea that make it what it is, I've discussed a few of the introductions, but midsections and outros also play a significant role here. Most of the midsections are simply fitted to their respective tracks, filling a gap and serving a purpose, if you will. However, the one in Numb I find particularly powerful. Initially hazy and dreamy, but then brought into focus with sharp percussion, and the hopeful musicality on top is truly awesome and chill-inducing. On the outro front, I'd say pretty much all of them are rounded off in a really nice way, some more emotional, others more uncertain and cliffhangery, like the Weeble Wobble VIP and Numb. But then of course you have the abruptness of Eliminate's a little bitch to close Stupid, and I would love to know who did that vocal, I cannot lie. On that note, I've talked about a lot of them already, but the vocal samples across the board work well, giving it that cheeky Eliminate flavour throughout. And lastly, all the water-related stuff, you know, the wave samples, the muffled underwater instrumentation, it ties into the theme of the EP. And so overall, I'd have to say that Dead Sea is another very accomplished Eliminate collection. Once again, it's got a boatload of variety and ambition, but in appreciating that, we can't forget how well it's put together, its remarkably clean delivery. So sharp, pointed, sinewy, refined, and the way that it readily translates into so many different types of electronic music is pretty astounding. Granted, some tracks work more than others, of course they do, but I think more of note here is the fact that we have so much diversity to take in. The amount of explosive sequences we get here as well shows it's not just in terms of genre, but sonically also that he's really pushing boundaries. On top of that, it's a real mix of moods and emotions once more, from the cute and wobbly to the direct and purposeful, the bleak and sorrowful, and also extremely relevant because the sea is literally dying in front of our very eyes. Stop eating fish, people. Still think I prefer Cyberwhale, it's more compact at 5 tunes, but the main reason for that is probably that I've heard it loads more, and I could end up liking this one more over time. Fact of the matter and bottom line is that he's leveled up massively this year on his ambition, production quality, idea execution, and Dead Sea is more emphatic proof of that. Now, in terms of my favourite on the EP, then I really did have a difficult time choosing one. Not a true standout here for me. At the moment, I think it's You're Gonna Love Me, but I also think that will change over time. And in terms of recommendations, if you enjoyed the EP, just old Eliminate really, if you like that style and variety. I don't think there's anyone else out there like him. And so there we have it, my thoughts on the new EP from Eliminate, Dead Sea, released on Disciple Records. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. But what did you guys make of the EP? Do you have a favourite track from the 6? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell along the way so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video to the channel, and my social media accounts are linked in the description box down below. For some other EP reviews on the channel, check out the link next to my head somewhere. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know guys, so be sure, as always, to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.